What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this His Dark Materials Season 2, Episode 6 recap and breakdown of the episode titled Malice. Now, this is the penultimate episode of the season, and wow, that season went very, very quickly, didn't it? Now, we start off with the witches who have now crossed over into the world of Chitagazi, where Lyra, Will, and Mary are, and they see angels. Now, the angels they see haven't been seen for thousands of years and are beings completely and entirely composed of dust, the element that the Magisterium have been desperate to stop being explored. Now, the Magisterium are religious zealots obsessed with the authority, and without too many spoilers, the angels themselves have two factions, the rebels and the ones loyal to the authority, essentially God. Yes, one of the angels, or at least the rebels we know, is the one that spoke to Mary and gave her task to play the serpent. It seems these are the rebels' angels looking for Azrael, and the witches want to join them to destroy the magisterium of their own worlds. The story for non-book readers, in my opinion, this season has been a bit slow and sometimes far too vague, despite still being very good. However, as we learned later in the episode, Lyra is part of a prophecy, the one who would destroy man and bring a collapse. However, the show frames it that she will be the one who will destroy the magisterium and the authority. She will be lured by the serpent, which is of course Mary, who's been given the task of finding Lyra, and think serpent like Garden of Eden. The task was set by an angel, so it's all coming together very nicely. Will's hand has gotten even worse, and he's having visions of his father, I would expect due to his new power of being the knife bearer. One problem: the kids of Chitagazi are out for blood due to their friend who stole the knife having his life force being taken away from him. However, Serafina does turn up and save the day, and I really like the actress who plays Serafina. She kind of portrays a real power of gravitas, but also niceness in some way. It turns out that Will needs to have magic to save his hand, as if magic harms you, you then need magic to heal you, which I guess makes sense. However, in the book, it was his father who fixed his hand. The witches are also trying to learn about the knife, which Will is very apprehensive, but Lyra is very trusting of these witches. She's been trained by her father to think about the witches and they know Azrael as well, as they drop that clanger later in the episode. Meanwhile, Lee and Will's father have arrived through the anomaly into the world where everyone else is seemingly heading to, as well the pieces are falling into place for the finale. Mary is also in the same world and communing with dust as Angelica and her friend watches, and well, Mary is still unsure of her task, but she finds Angelica, who just wants her to give them a bath, and well, Angelica just wants a mother, a bedtime story, and the other girl wants a hug. They mention that the adults went to the mountains and now the other kids have gone to join them. I really like this tender scene, and Mary just seems so very, very nice. Maybe that's why she was picked to tempt Lyra to be the collapse of the original sin. Will begs Lyra to find where his father is using the alethiometer, and now as Lee and Grumman have moved into this world, he's incredibly close to them, and they rest with the witches. Now, he was also healed by them, and he learns that while Lyra is part of the prophecy, there's also a boy who is part of the prophecy who must travel with her. And while Roger died, it seems like as he's the bearer, he must be the boy from the prophecy. We check in with the Magisterium as MacPhail learns that Lyra is, like I said, part of the prophecy, and he's a hypocrite using dust and things which he kills people for using via the church. He later in the episode decides to go and send airships through the anomaly to attack and find Lyra, as of course they learn that Coulter is there as well, and well, Coulter wants to keep Lyra safe, and it's very interesting there, and I really did love how the fight scenes in the air were so desperate with Lee, but of course he has a shaman with him which comes in very handy. However, the airship is shot and this would then be the cliffhanger of the episode, as we have to wonder if they're still alive. Yes, I'm pretty sure they are, for now. As Coulter and Boreal head into Sitakazi, can we just appreciate Coulter's costume change? And she looks fire as an adventurer. Coulter, they find a man who has had his life force taken out, and Boreal thinks that they have just been cut like the Magisterium was doing to kids, but Coulter thinks it's a lot more than that, hinting that she is far ahead of Boreal in, well, everything. She walks towards spectres and learns to control them. She would later explain that all she had to do was simply suppress her humanity. Easy, huh? Well, that makes sense. She can do this as she was able to be far from her demon, and her life was tough, and she sees strength and pain as the same thing. And these are important things that she's had to use, and this pain, to make it in the man's world she's from. However, the big thing here is that Boreal finally got what he deserves, as he seemingly condescends and underestimates Coulter, seeing her as his equal, which I don't think he does. I think in his brain he thinks he's more superior because he's a man. He wants her as a trophy, but she points him in a chilling scene. The acting here is just the best of the season, and Ruth Wilson is just spellbinding. Coulter is very much the opposite to Azrael, who wants to destroy the Magisterium and the Authority, and Lyra is the goal for almost every single faction in the show, which is very, very cool. Now, Lee and Will's dads are, like I said, being chased, and I liked how Mr. Shaman was able to realise the knife bearer was not in the city, as the spectres are surrounding them. Now, this means that they know where Will and Lyra are, as they did head there, albeit a bit faster, as the balloon is zipping to them. Now, while there are spectres, luckily Will does have the subtle knife, and he's able to save the witches and Lyra from using the knife. Now, while we may have a reunion, there are a lot of church soldiers arriving to the spot where they are, which is very much a problem for our heroes, and considering the season finale had deaths last season, I do expect one or two of the group to die, and you book readers know exactly who I'm talking about. Now we're moving into the end game, and the third book now, where things get way into madness, and the sort of mystery and the mysticism underlying the whole of the show does come to the forefront. Think of how Game of Thrones worked to the White Walkers, except this should be better as the showrunners aren't rushing to direct Star Wars and want to end their show as quickly as possible. But overall, I thought it was a really good episode, and there was just so much action. I kept having to rewind things every 5 seconds because a thing would happen. I'd be like, hold on, I need to see that again. I want to see what happened before that. And I'm really excited. So next week is the finale, and it's going to be the end of the subtle knife, but I expect, like last season, they will blend the second and the third books together, which really does make sense. But we also have videos on The Mandalorian. We cover The Strand when that is out on Thursday, and we just cover pretty much everything geek and cult. So do consider subscribing and liking as well if you want more from us, because these videos I do on other topics as well. So that's it. I'll see you soon, and goodbye.